So, hey everybody, I just got back from another date. This was supposed to be a kind of casual date for coffee and got dessert.
This is my casual look. Remember, I said casual, not look like a bum, like some people seem to think casual means.
I made a mistake in my dating repertoire, which I don't normally do. And that was I did what I call buckshot dating, which is where you just make a bunch of dates with a bunch of people and you hope for the best and you don't really screen who you're going out with. This is the second of those. Yesterday's disaster fee was the first of those, and today was actually much worse than yesterday's date. Um, so the reason that I did this was a conversation that I had with my boyfriend about what happens. Normally, what happens is I screen based on text message conversations through Tinder, which is my preferred dating site. And then, depending on how the text message conversation goes, I decide whether or not I want to actually see them in person. So he said, well, what happens if somebody's really bad at sending text messages, or they just are one of those people who doesn't like to send a lot of text messages, but they're, better in person? And so I said, okay, well, let's try this out. Um, so far, this has been a mistake, and I have a couple more dates to go, which I'm refusing to cancel because it could happen that, I could be wrong. So we'll go with this, but I'm really dreading these upcoming dates. This is like, don't do this. I'm making this mistake for you guys, and I know it's a mistake, but just don't do it. So I'm going to talk in a future segment about things to talk about or not talk about or do or not do on your first date, but I'm going to touch on this really briefly. Do not talk about sex on your first date. Guys, I know you love your penises, okay? Uh, I kind of think I have a nice butt, but I'm not going to parade it around and twerk in your face. Okay, maybe my date would go better if I just twerked in your face all day. I don't know. I guess that might work. Sure. Don't talk about sex. Don't talk about your sex drive. Don't talk about your crazy exes. I have like my crazy ex. I've been stalked 3 times now, right? And had someone try to kill me. So if we want to talk about crazy exes, I got you beat. But crazy exes is a thing that you kind of want to ease into, just like if your family's like super wacko, you can talk about crazy family a little sooner than crazy exes. You know, you might be able, if you're really comfortable on a first date, you can kind of just mention that your family's a little nuts. So you can talk about crazy family and what crazy family does a little bit, but not crazy exes, not sex. You want to stay away from politics and religion unless you're a preacher or a politician, in which case that should probably be in your profile anyway. And what else should you avoid? Drugs. That's the other one. Look, I've gone to Grateful Dead concerts. Okay, I have done more drugs in my life than anyone who is not a rock star. Okay, but this person spent the entire time literally talking about his crazy ex, his sex drive, and getting high. And I could not get out of there fast enough. I actually ran down the waitress, declared that we had separate checks. I got a dessert and some coffee. It was like $10. I gave her a $20 bill and said, separate checks, so you can keep the change by. Like, and disappeared. Like, shit was crazy. All right. So, anyways, um, it seems like people, even though they say they want relationships, what they're really looking for is a hookup, and you really need to make up your mind if you're going to be on a dating site which one you want. Are you looking for a meaningful long-term relationship, or are you looking to stick some body part into another body part? Penis into a vagina, a foot in someone's mouth, uh, I don't know, a hand in someone's butt. I don't know, something, right? Like, you got to figure all that stuff out. Like, insert tab A into slot B or something. So I'm doing a section right now to save all of us people who are desperately looking for meaningful, lasting, romantic, lovely relationships. I'm going to teach y'all the very basic 101s of how to ask for a hookup, and get all y'all folks out of the way, because stop swimming in our pool. You're like pissing in our pool. Get out. We're trying to come up with something else, right? Just, and maybe you need to get all that sex drive or something under control, okay? Before you can start venturing into, you're just confusing everybody, because you're like, oh, I want a loving, wonderful relationship, but no, I just want to fuck. Don't say that you want a relationship and lie because you think that's what it takes to get into my pants, because I am not stupid and I can tell when you're just saying shit to get into my pants. So we're going to do a section on how to have a hookup, and the first part is going to be how to have a kinky hookup. So there's a site called FetLife, that is fet as in fetish, as in Frank eats titties, Fet Life, okay? um, and if you do anything kinky, you need to get your butt on it, okay? And this should be basic 101. Now, once you get on it, pussy is not going to magically fall from the sky. It does not work like that. As a girl, probably you will have a couple of couples immediately approach you, and if you're new on FetLife. Those are disasters waiting to happen. Don't actually answer any of those guys or couples or anything. What you want to do, you make a FetLife profile, you fill out the stuff on the FetLife profile. You might want to do one of the little purity test things, or like what is that? It's like a purity test. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like literally like all the range of your kingdom. So, you say all the things that you want or you're interested in and things like that. You put that on there. Then you join some groups. You learn about events that are going on. You read all the rules about those groups. Okay, so those groups have lots of tedious rules. It's kind of like if you wake up one day and you say, I want to be an MMA fighter. You don't just jump in the ring and go try and whip some ass, because that's not going to happen. Okay, so it's like if you say, I want to have a kinky hookup, you're not just going to like read 50 Shades of Grey, because that's a terrible book and you should never read that book anyway. This books just don't. It's badly written. So what you should do is you should go in, you should read all those tedious rules, because like just like an MMA fighter, you can't elbow someone when they're down on the ground to the face, because that's against the rules when you're fighting. Like, so all of these rules in the groups are rules of etiquette for how you engage the people in the groups. So you read those tedious rules, you start talking with people in the groups, you learn about events that are happening. All of these local groups have classes on how to negotiate scenes. All of them do. They show you how to negotiate scenes. Those that you go to these classes, go to the classes. You get to meet other new people who are interested in kink. The classes will teach you all the etiquette that you need to know to navigate a kink scene, to negotiate a kink scene, to hook up in a kinky way. And then you will also meet people who are new to kink, and it's usually from new to intermediate level people, because lots of intermediate people will retake the classes. I occasionally will retake a newbie class just because. So you do that, you take a couple intro classes of things that you're interested in. So let's say you're interested in tying people up, so you take an intro to rope class or something like that. So you take a couple intro classes, you take an etiquette negotiation class, then you go to an actual kink event. If you've gone to a couple intro classes, you probably have met a few faces already, and so you're familiar with a few faces. You have a couple people to talk to, so you're not just a wallflower sitting on the wall. Guys don't expect to get to play with someone the first time that you go to a major event, so it's nice that you'll be able to talk to someone. they're gonna want to see you 2 or 3 times. They're gonna want to know that you can follow the rules of etiquette that you just took the class for. People self-police in kink a lot, okay? So if you go in there and start showing your ass and acting like foolish, that's gonna get around and no one will play with you and you're done. It's over, okay? So you need to go to those classes. You need to go to those one-on-one classes. Take a couple intro classes, meet a couple people, and then you go to the events and you show that you can act like with the proper etiquette required to act in a kink event. And what will happen about the second or third time that you show up and they realize, hey, he knows how to act right, like a kink adult instead of a kink miscreant, right? People will start wanting to play with you. And so they will play with you and they will come up to you and people will play with you and do kinky things with you at the event. And then you'll strike up conversations with them and eventually you may form a relationship with them you will start doing these things outside of the event and can develop a meaningful, deeper relationship outside of the event. You get your kinky hookup, and then a lot of times really hardcore kinky relationships work in reverse. You don't do this thing where you have a long vanilla relationship and then you gradually introduce them to kinky things. Or you find it if they do, that's going to take a really long time and it's going to waste a lot of time. Neither can you start a first date and say, hey, I like to come on a mirror and eat my own cum. Like, you can't say that on a first date. Actually, you can at a kink event because I've had someone say that to me, but that was because they knew how to negotiate a scene. Okay, you can't just say that on a blind Tinder date, because if you say that, I'm going to run screaming out the door, which was pretty much, which was kind of what I was doing tonight. I was running screaming out the door. Wow. Okay, so that is how you negotiate a kinky hookup. That is also how you negotiate, that's how a good way to start kinky long-term relationships. We are going to do a next section on, so stay tuned for the next section, which is going to be a few real quick tips on how to do a vanilla hookup. And then after that, we're going to get on to how to set up your profiles. All right, thanks, bye.